And that's what is happening right now. Let me bring in the reporters who are tracking this story. Pallavi Ghosh is joining us live. Arun Dhata. We also have Anshul and Mihir joining me from Bombay. Pallavi, I am going to begin with you. 10 a.m. is what we are seeing right now. The first set of visuals will be coming from the Parliament of India.
In fact, I'm coming to you right from inside Parliament, and because of, the paucity or rather the limitations, I'm just getting a sense of that area just right behind me, if you can see it. And, there has been a white cloth enclosure. That's where the MPs are going to go and cast their vote. The process, as we pointed out, is from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. There has been a flurry of activity, seriously, over here. We heard the Prime Minister a short while back saying that this is an important monsoon session because the presidential elections are going to take place, and of course, later the vice presidential elections. I'm going to try and get a sense of the area just right behind me. You can see the Parliament precincts right behind me. That's where the MPs are walking up. That's where they're going to go and cast their vote. The Prime Minister, flanked by his members of Parliament, flanked, of course, by the Union Ministers, are going to be giving a vote right over here. Completely tight security, of course, inside Parliament, as always, but on a day like today. The MLAs, of course, vote for their state assemblies. Some MPs are also voting for their state assemblies, at least the Bengal MPs are doing. In terms of numbers, we've always been putting it out. It's not really much of a problem as far as Rashtrapati Murmu goes. Not just the NDA, but cutting across the party lines, cutting across to opposition parties, barring the AAP and TMC and the Congress party. All of them have decided to vote for Rashtrapati Murmu because of their own political compulsions, the tribal leader rising from the rank, and of course, she's a woman factor. But because I'm coming to you from inside Parliament, I'm going to try and get you those pictures right behind me. You can see some of the MPs lining up over there.
Pallavi, just 20 seconds. The first set of visuals are in fact coming from Chennai, where MK Stalin is there inside the assembly. He is come to cast his vote. DMK's MK Stalin, the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu, present there to cast his vote. The first set of visuals are coming in from there. Not really a surprise. We know which way his vote is going. But Pallavi, those visuals are coming in and you were pointing out on the first floor of the Parliament. That's where the white enclosure is, Pallavi, and all MPs who are in Parliament today or who are in Delhi will be going to cast their vote there, Pallavi. But when we look at these visuals, Pallavi, from Tamil Nadu, MK Stalin.
Well, I mean, no surprises there over there. I think the presidential elections really, Maria, also stands out not just for the name, but also the kind of political changes or the semantics which we are going to take in the run-up to 2024. Look, there's no hard and fast rule as the one who's supporting you for the presidential elections will end up being on your side. But, for example, I remember when Pratibha Patil was chosen as the UPA's presidential candidate, the Shiv Sena had broken rank. Shiv Sena at that point of time was with the NDA, but only on this count they had explained that, because she comes from Maharashtra, there's just no way that we cannot vote for her.
But Pallavi, now we are seeing Prime Minister Narendra Modi along with BJP President JP Nadda, other party leaders now entering that room. That is the polling booth in Parliament where he is going to cast his vote. So perhaps the first one to exercise his right is in the Parliament is the Prime Minister himself, who has entered the polling booth in Parliament where he has gone to cast his vote. Just minutes ago, we heard from the Prime Minister where he said that this is an important day where the polling is happening across the country, the state assemblies and also the Parliament of India. The first set of visuals, that is the polling booth inside Parliament, where you will be seeing the polling agents sit there and to ensure that everything is in order. First set of visuals will be coming in of the Prime Minister. But Pallavi, we are seeing those visuals. That's interesting. Republic of India, that is the polling booth, perhaps, which shows which room number is this, Pallavi? We are looking at those visuals of inside Parliament.
Well, that's room number 63. I mean, I'm going to try and just see just right behind me. I don't know if it's going to be visible to you, but
Yes.
you can see that white cloth enclosure. That's the way it leads up to the room where that voting is taking place. And, I think the Prime Minister has also made a very important point that the presidential elections are going to have a very big change, perhaps, on the political horizon. In fact, a short while back when we were here and the Prime Minister was speaking to us, he said this is a monsoon session which is particularly important because not just does it go closer to the Independence Day, but also we've chosen who we have chosen. There are lots of messages which is going across as far as choice of Draupadi Murmu is concerned. India at 75, women at 75, Draupadi Murmu rising from the ranks, not an entitled leader, someone who's a tribal, someone who's a woman, just to go on to show that the highest office in our country is something which is not a barrier for those who want to rise up. I know there's always going to be criticism from the other side, from the opposition, but clearly that's a message which the government wants to ignore. Clearly that's a message which the BJP is ignoring.
And Pallavi,
also
first set of visuals now coming in from Uttar Pradesh Assembly, where the Chief Minister of UP, Yogi Adityanath, has gone to exercise his vote. He will be casting his vote any moment now. That is the Assembly of Uttar Pradesh, where Yogi Adityanath, Chief Minister, has gone to cast his vote. We have seen him welcome Draupadi Murmu in the State Assembly, where she addressed the State Assembly, addressed the BJP MLAs. We have seen breaking of ranks also that happened in UP. Number of parties withstood with Akhilesh Yadav, the switching sides, standing now with Draupadi Murmu on this candidature, be it Mr. Rajbhar or even Akhilesh Yadav's uncle, Shivpal Yadav, all supporting Draupadi Murmu. So the first set of visuals coming in from Uttar Pradesh Assembly, Yogi Adityanath casting his vote for the next president of India. No surprises again, when we know which way his vote is going, but the polling has begun. The visuals have started coming in from all state assemblies and also from the Parliament of India, where the Prime Minister has gone to cast his vote. So those visuals of Prime Minister, Mr. JP Nadda, BJP President, Minister of State for Parliamentary Affairs, and also in the Prime Minister's office, all of them are walking towards the polling booth to cast their vote. Interesting day today, historic day today, as we see history in making, clearly, with Draupadi Murmu all set to be the next president of India. But the big message that is coming in from the NDA is, on the 75th Independence Day, just before that, India will be getting its first president, tribal president. Pallavi, let me go back to you. Pallavi, we are looking at those visuals, interesting visuals coming in from across the country, because I think all chief ministers would want to cast their vote, perhaps being the first in their respective state assemblies. But again, Pallavi, interesting what it is that the whip doesn't apply. As far as the process is concerned, there's no whip that can be issued, and it doesn't really apply to the MLAs and the MPs.
And therefore, I think the real story will actually come out on the 21st when the counting takes place. Because, while many of them are openly advocating their support for Yashwant Sinha, will there really be a real divide when it comes to the actual pattern of voting? Because, mind you, in private, many of the constituents of the opposition spectrum do have their political compulsions. It's going to be very difficult for them, for example, to explain to their constituency, especially those who come in from tribal-dominated states like a Jharkhand or a Chhattisgarh, some of which we are facing elections, on to explain why they did not vote for a tribal. For example, in Jharkhand, the Congress MLAs are very, very uncomfortable. I mean, they said it was easier for, say, the JMM to pledge their open support to Draupadi Murmu, but the party has taken a line where they're going to support Yashwant Sinha. How do they explain the fact that, well, yes, Yashwant Sinha may be belonging Bihar/Jharkhand, but the fact is, and he's been from Hazaribagh, a representative, but how do they explain the fact that they are not supporting a tribal? So when they go back to the elections, they go back to the voters, this is something which they may have to be confronted with. Similar is the case with Chhattisgarh and in other states as well, which is why I say the real story actually is going to be out on 21st, when we're going to get a slice-by-slice account of how the polling has taken place, who of those actually at the end of the day, when they went to cast their vote at the ballot box, broke away from the party's line and decided to vote along with the NDA's candidate. So the real story, frankly speaking, will actually come out on the 21st. So there's no doubt about the fact that she's the one who's going to be sitting at Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Yes, and it's a difficult choice for all those MLAs who have been elected from ST seats, that is the reserved scheduled tribe seats. Can they not vote? And can they really afford not to vote for India's first tribal president? Let me bring in Arun Datta. Arun Datta is outside Draupadi Murmu's residence here in the national capital. Where is the next president of India, I would say safely now, because we look at the numbers, yes, potential at the moment. But Arun Datta, we have seen her campaign in each and every state of India. She has reached out to all political parties. Soon after her name was announced, she did call up Sonia Gandhi. She also spoke to TMC Supremo Mamata Banerjee, called up Uddhav Thackeray. She reached out to every political party.
Well, that's right, Maria. As I speak about what she did during her campaign, I would request my camera person to just pan around and show the residence, the temporary residence of Draupadi Murmu, which is at the Pandit Uma Shankar Marg here in Chanakyapuri. So this is the residence of Draupadi Murmu, and she's very much inside her residence. But as far as whether she'll come out or not, there is no clarity if she is planning to move somewhere around. So there is no clarity on that regard. But of course, we have seen that Draupadi Murmu was on a country tour where she was in fact meeting different political parties, seeking vote for herself. And perhaps when we are talking now and the voting has started, we can say that she is very much in that position where she will